What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the KindaFunny Xcast, your home for all things Xbox here at KindaFunny. Of course, I'm one of your hosts, Snowbike Mike, and today is the final episode of 2021. And you know I had to hit you with some energy. Big Papa Gary Whitta is out this week, ready to enjoy his holiday break. So I brought my two knuckleheads, my guys that always bring the fun, always bring the smiles, Parris Lilly and Kahlief Adams. I'll start with you, Parris. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Missing Gary here on the final episode, but this is my first full year of Xcast. It was on the first one of the year, and I'm on the last one of the year. So very thankful for that. And I don't know why you brought this other guy here, because I thought everyone on Xcast had to know how to at least boil water. We know this guy doesn't.
That is a rule that we did set. You have to boil water to join the crew. But our good friend Kahlief Adams is in the building. Somebody who's always doing the dopest stuff around, making me smile, playing games with me, and just rocking it. Kahlief, how are you today?
I'm very, very well. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I really do wish that Gary Whitta was here instead of Parris Lilly, because that would have made for a much better show. People who actually know what they're doing on this platform, and it's funny because like when I think of food and the Christmas cheer and all things that kind of come together with that, and you know, everybody, I hope you're having a happy holiday. I think of all the food and the way that they smell, and I think of like the last day of a convention, and I think that that's probably the kind of closest to what those things kind of probably smell and taste like from Parris Lilly. So excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me, and down to get it in on the last Xcast of the year.
Of course, Kahlief. Thank you for joining us. It's going to be nothing but fun with the two of you, myself and Barrett here at the helm. And Kahlief, I want you to know really quick, you know, I made myself a little TikTok, and I was just scrolling a lot of TikTok, and then I said, you know what? I might post a video, right? I might do what the young kids do and post a couple of TikToks. And so I posted a really good one about you and I and a warthog trying to capture the flag early on in Big Team Battle. And let me tell you what, Kahlief, it did numbers, big dog. That thing skyrocketed in the TikTok algorithm, and it's doing numbers, my dude.
It's like if we were to be the best parts of a show, right? It's like when you have people who just have that vision, that camaraderie, that energy that people want to see, unlike people who are sitting to the right of me in the 3 box. I'm telling you, man, we just put up numbers, man. It's just the beauty of what it is.
We put up numbers, but you know what? You two, the guy to the right of you, you two look good all buttoned up. And we're going to talk about your guys' week over at the Game Awards. We're going to catch up and hear all about that. And we're going to talk about the year 2021 because it's the end of the year, Kahlief and Parris. And it's time to take a look back, a little retrospective on the year that we had with Xbox, some of our favorite moments. Then we'll look forward to 2022 and talk to the best friends about what the plans are when we return in January for some of the content they can look forward to. But let me jump right into it because this is the KindaFunny Xcast. We post each and every Saturday at 6 a.m. West Coast, Best Coast time on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames, roosterteeth.com, and on podcast services around the globe. And get this, y'all. I need you to do me a favor. If you are tuned in and locked in over on Spotify, guess what? Spotify podcasts now allow you to rate your favorite podcast. Just like Parris Lilly is saying, drop a 5-star rating on this podcast and all of your favorite content from the KindaFunny crew. All of our podcasts are up on Spotify. Please do me a big favor and rate the show as you please. We'd love to see that 5-star review coming in from our Spotify listeners. Also, don't forget we are now Epic Games partners, which means you can go out and buy some Fortnite V-Bucks. You can upgrade your Rocket League cosmetics, or you can buy dope games off the Epic Games Store, and you can use our Epic Creator Code at checkout. It's no additional cost to you, and you can help support the team in a brand new way. So use KindaFunny at checkout anytime you're buying a game off the Epic Games Store. It's the final week of December for us here at KindaFunny. So we'd like to thank our Patreon producers one more time for the month of December. So thank you to everybody supporting over on patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames. Big shout out to Kranksky, Tyler Ross, Delaney Twinning, Julian the Gluten-Free Gamer, Alex J. Sandoval, James Hastings, Casey Andrew, and of course, a big shout out because the big guy returns. Greg Miller returns to content next month. Nick should quit now. We're all excited to see Greg Miller return, and we'll probably have him on the Xcast once or twice next year because we love hearing his voice and we love hanging out with Big Greg. But this week, the KindaFunny Xcast is sponsored by Upstart, Native, and Green Chef. but me and the team will tell you all about that a little bit later. Let's jump in and catch up with my guy, Kahlief Adams, because Kahlief, you had a big week last week at the Game Awards, and you have more coming. Of course, the Spawnies are on the way. I want you to tell me and the audience all about that, and get an awesome, dope feature over at the Game Awards that, of course, we got to highlight. We got to talk about. It's something I know me and Parris talked about when it actually happened, but it's nice to see that again, get back out there in the mainstream and be able to talk about it. So, Kahlief, tell me about the Spawnies to kick off.
Ooh, Spawnies is going to be really interesting. We're trying to launch our own award show in January. One of the kind of big gaps we see in the space is award shows don't really kind of celebrate and spotlight people of color, underrepresented folks when they kind of have their moment in the spotlight. So we're going to be doing that on our show. The hope and the plan is for pretty much everyone that you see within our broadcast to be from an underrepresented group or people of color, from top to bottom. So that means everyone who's going to be presenting an award, everyone who's going to hopefully win an award. I'll be hosting it with Rihanna Manuel from G4. It's going to be a lot of fun. Like, I think the air of it is going to be really light and fun. We do a very interesting spin on the names of the awards. Like, our most emotional award is the Snot Bubble Cry Award. Our VR award is called the Jamiroquai. It's all these interesting kind of layers that kind of make it super fun, and do that work that is kind of missing from the industry of like showing the folks who you see in the credits, but you may not necessarily see who they are in that way. So really hyped for that. Really excited for it. It's going to be dropping in January. Hopefully it'll be on Twitch and maybe some other places too. So very excited for all that coming.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you have a worst cook of the universe award?
Yep.
Because you'll win it. You'll win it every year if you do.
Ooh, I mean, you know what? I think that would be a really fun actual like category. We may have to fight for who wins that one. It'll just me and you every year.
No, there'll be no fighting. I'll tap out immediately. You win.
You'll be like, I get it. I just get it. I mean, that was not funny, Parris. I don't appreciate you talking about my food like that and adding that award to the thing. I don't know. I mean, maybe we figure out that we have like the best cooking game in the Spawnies. Maybe we do something like that. I don't see
I like
that. Yeah.
I like that. Well, Kahlief, the Spawnies sound super dope, and I can't wait to tune in. I know everybody will keep it locked. Keep an eye on you and all the social medias for when it posts. But you two went to the Game Awards, and last week, me and Gary got to talk about, our reactions to the Game Awards. We talked about our favorite trailers. We talked about It Takes Two taking home Game of the Year, and just other award winners on the Xbox side, which was really, really exciting to see Xbox shine this year with some great titles. But you two actually got to be there, right? Just like Blessing the Future Class Video Games over from PSI Love You XOXO. And you guys probably have some dope stories or some great moments. So I wanted to catch up and just know, what was the vibe like? What kind of fun did you encounter? What kind of moments did you share with people like Tim Schafer in that killer suit? Did you see Sarah Bond, Phil Spencer, and the whole gang? So, Parris, I'll kick it over to you. Tell me some of your favorite moments from the Game Awards.
I have to say, for me, because this happened over a 2-day period, it was so gratifying to be around people that I've been interacting with over the past few years virtually in person, and to see people I have not seen since the last Game Awards 2 years ago, or some even before that, obviously, because not everyone goes to the Game Awards. It's so funny because, I live very close to Los Angeles, but that was the first time I'd been to downtown Los Angeles since the last Game Awards. So it's just kind of surreal in that way. I would say the first night, just to kind of give a shout out to the gaming clubhouse that kind of got a lot of us through the pandemic, during the past 18 months to 2 years here. A group of us, we all got to meet up, and we all had dinner together in person. So shout out to Aaron Greenberg over at Xbox for putting that together. Zach, being able to secure the restaurant, everything that went down with that. But it was so great to actually, these people that every Tuesday night we were just talking casually on a clubhouse about gaming or whatever the topic would be, to actually be able to sit down with these people and have dinner and have real conversations in person. It was really good. And then, fast forward to the next day at the Game Awards. again, just to see everybody. I mean, that is my number one takeaway from all of this. There was a couple of different events I got to attend before the Game Awards. I actually got to go tour G4 to see their new studio. It's freaking amazing. Anyone ever get an opportunity to do that, I highly suggest it. But again, getting to just hang out, like you mentioned, Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond got to go to. There was an event where I got to meet all of them and talk with them. Various people from Xbox. Major Nelson was there as well as an example. Then the actual show itself, to just see everybody from the industry, and it was all love, and that's the most important part about it. Everybody was so happy to see everybody. There was so much hug. Look, Omicron, Unicron, whatever. I'm telling you, that thing might have exploded during the Game Awards last week, because I'm telling you, everybody was just so happy to see each other and hug and interact and talk. And like you just mentioned, Tim Schafer got to see him briefly. Which, by the way, I'm just gonna say this for the record: Psychonauts 2 got robbed.
Oh.
I don't know if it got robbed. How that game did not win something, I don't know. Double Fine got robbed, but
story.
The point again is, yeah. It was just such a gratifying couple days to just be around everyone. I miss everybody again already. So hopefully, the world will normalize enough here in 2022. Maybe we will have an in-person E3 or a PAX or something where we can all gather together again and not have to wait another calendar year, to go see so many people from the industry. Like Blessing, finally got to meet Blessing in person, so that was great, just from a kind of funny standpoint. But yeah, it was just a happy time, man. I definitely had a grin on my face the entire time, getting to see so many people. Look, I got to debut the mustache in person.
Yes, you did.
got people to comment on that. So yeah, it was good. It was definitely a good time. And like I said, I miss everybody already.
Sounds like some powerful stuff there, Parris.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us take that for granted, right? We've touched on for the past year plus of like the connections we've built online, right? Being able to game with Kahlief and hear his voice and laugh playing Battlefield together. But like, it's just never the same as going to these conventions and seeing your friends, dapping up your homies, and just hanging out with cool people.
Oh, and one last thing, because I'm sure we'll comment on the Game Awards itself, but a huge thanks to Jeff Keighley and his entire team for putting that together. It was a first-class production the entire way. Thank you again to his team, getting me tickets to the show. Had good seats. I was right up front the whole thing. Again, that's why the Game Awards is important, because it is a celebration of games. And it brings all of us together. And after the past couple of years that we have, I mean, it was sorely needed. So again, thank you to him and everyone involved.
Dope. Kahlief, it sounds like he had nothing but fun. Same goes for you. What were your experiences?
Yeah, I want to ditto a lot of the stuff that Parris shared, and it was, it's one of those things that I think, having Parris and I have been in the industry for a minute now at this point. I think one of our good friends, Sterling McGarvey, who used to be kind of in the media side of it, he shared a very interesting sentiment and really beautiful sentiment early on when I got into this industry, and that was, the thing that will remain after your time is done in this space is all the relationships and friendships that you've built over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way, if you kind of think about this space in that way of like, you're not just going to people and being like, can you give me a thing, or can I be on a thing, or any of that kind of stuff. It's really about, over the years, you're like, oh, like you're a human being who is doing this thing in this industry and has a very specific role in it, but at the end of the day, you're just an awesome human being who is a part of this industry that we all love. And it just really came home with a lot of that energy, getting to have that dinner with Aaron and the rest of the crew, or the Clubhouse crew. I know Parris and I, we see each other, once in a while at this point, because of the way things are, but it's always like getting a chance to see him, give him a hug and tell him I love him. And it's always great to be able to do that in person, and Danny and Ree and everybody else who's in our crew. And it's just great to, like, again, see Keighley have that moment in the sun where, a lot of times people don't really give Jeff Keighley the credit that he deserves for what it takes to put on a show this big every year. Now having to do it with COVID protocols, with the understandings of where the kind of space is at, pulling in ridiculously huge stars all the time. Keanu and Carrie Ann Moss and Sting was performing live in there, and Imagine Dragons, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's not easy doing this kind of show with the scrutiny that goes along with it, with all the energy that goes along with it. And it does provide a space for all of us as industry folks to really come back and see each other. Like, I hadn't seen Andrea Renee in 2 years, and
Yeah.
you got a chance to give her a hug and say hi.
Same. Yeah.
And so many other folks who, have grown in this space with. So, it just felt really nice to be able to tell people that you missed them, tell them that you loved them, that you don't get a chance to see, and really kind of bring home that like feeling of like what this industry can and should be, from a dope energy perspective. So it was really nice to come home, and I was sad. Like, I usually it's funny because you get like, it's weird because when you go to a thing and you feel like everything's kind of rote, you're like, oh, I've done this already. I've been to E3. I've done this stuff, but you don't remember how much you miss it until it's gone. And I was sad when I came home. I was like, man, I miss my friends. Like, I haven't seen them in a long time. I miss them.
Agreed.
It was dope.
Oh, one other thing from an Xcast standpoint, I got to finally meet Alana in person.
Oh,
yeah.
awesome.
So that was great. A lot taller than I thought, right? But again, just again, like Kahlief is saying, it's just all love and yeah, I definitely felt bummed out when I came back because there were people that I'm exchanging messages with. I'm like, I'm here, I'm there. Where are you? And we missed each other, and I didn't even get to see him in person. So that's a bummer, in itself. But just the overall vibe from it, it was very positive. It was very good. Mike, I wish you would have been there. Again, I wish everybody would have been there, honestly, because it just would have been so good to see everyone that we interact with, but don't get to talk in person. Because I mean, if this whole pandemic has taught me anything, I truly appreciate in-person human connections because my God, have I missed them so much. And those the Game Award days, they were really good.
I'm so glad to hear nothing but positivity from both of you from that experience. And it's really cool. I think it lights the fire, right? It reignites the fire of like, here's your passion, here's your friends, here's your family, and it keeps you going. I will say I have 2 more follow-ups to that. I think, Parris, you do owe me a story, I believe, with somebody that I love, Mr. Pete Hines. So maybe you'll tell that story on the podcast. And then afterwards, of course, I want to know on the production side, right? You talked about Psychonauts 2 being kind of snubbed at the Game Awards, didn't walk away with anything, but there were some big award winners out there. It Takes Two, I'll say again, was absolutely stunning to see. I don't think anybody thought Joseph Fares was walking away with that big of an award, but it was really cool to see and well-deserved. But also from the production side, what did you think of Jeff Keighley in the stage, the music, all of that jazz, since you were there live in the building? I'll leave it up to you two to tell me about that.
So I'll tell the Pete Hines story really quick. It's just funny, again, when you don't see people for a very long time. So we're at the JW, and it was pre-show, and that's where everyone kind of congregates before actually going over to the Microsoft Theater. And even with a mask on, I could tell it was Pete Hines, and he's literally sitting off by himself, just sitting there like waiting for whatever. So I go, you know what? Let me go over there and say hi, because I missed him when I was up at the Xbox show, earlier this year, for the extended. And, obviously he was here on Xcast, and we talked about that a little bit. So I was like, let me go say hi. And I go over, and I got my mask on, and he is looking at me like, dude, who the hell are you? Right? So I take my mask off. I'm like, hey, it's Parris. And he was just shocked, because I have not seen Pete Hines in person probably since like 2010. That's how long it's been.
Wow,
it's been that long.
Gosh.
And let's just say I was a little heavier than I am now, right? So he did not recognize me at all. So he was just shocked, like, I didn't even recognize you, the whole thing. But it was great to see him. We just had a brief conversation, and I just congratulated him on obviously everything with Deathloop and what Bethesda has been doing this year and what's coming up next year. And from a Bethesda standpoint, I'm sure we'll talk about this. 2022 looks to be really, really good. So again, it was great to see him in person. Now, from the production standpoint of what you're saying, like I said, everything was first class, man. Everything was high production values with everything, set designs, obviously, the musical acts and everything that they had during the Game Awards. I would say from my vantage point, like when they showed Hellblade 2 as an example, I feel like I didn't get the full effect of it until I went home. Seeing it, being there in person. I think what people got at home was definitely a different experience than what I got in person. I mean, stuff was all still very impressive, don't get me wrong. obviously seeing the Wonder Woman reveal, getting to see the Suicide Squad gameplay footage, things like that was all great. Look, like I said, already said, I feel like Psychonauts 2 got robbed, but I was definitely surprised with some of the winners throughout the show. But I mean, obviously, all these games are great. They all were well deserved. So, like, I did not think It Takes Two was going to get Game of the Year. I was convinced, and I had a conspiracy theory that it was going to be Metroid Dread. Obviously, I was wrong. So I was happy to see that It Takes Two got it, because it was a fantastic game. Definitely something, Gary has really just gushed about it, the entire year. So it was good from that standpoint. But I really thought it was going to be something like Metroid Dread or maybe Deathloop or something like that was going to win. So that was a happy surprise. But, like I said, overall, kind of a bummer that Psychonauts 2 didn't get anything.
I need you to say this at least 20 more times throughout this episode.
Yeah,
I will.
Me and Barrett aren't happy with
Same.
that. That's
I
right.
will.
We said that on
I
the
will.
KindaFunny live stream as well. We weren't too pleased.
Bullshit.
Now I will say it was good to see from the player choice, Halo Infinite got recognized,
Yeah, that
because
was cool.
I mean, and obviously we'll talk more about Halo when Gary comes back, but from the campaign obviously to the multiplayer, it all, it's been nothing but 90% positive stuff coming from 343. I really feel like they deserve this win that they got. They deserve all the praise that they're getting, and even the things that haven't been so great, they're working on them, and you can tell they're going to get those things fixed, which is a good thing. So yeah, that's kind of my perspective on the Game Awards. I know Kahlief has his own, so I'll shut up.
It's an interesting thing. Like, I think again, it goes back to the ideas of like we are very lucky to be in a space to be able to see the behind the curtain stuff. Like like Parris and I, we reminisce about going to the the thing that I feel like is the biggest analog to something that's like the Game Awards is going to the Microsoft Xbox showcases at E3, because it has a lot of the pomp and circumstance, it has a lot of the pageantry, it has all that kind of stuff. But you also get a little chance. You get a chance to see like behind the curtain from like the way a show runs, which is kind of dope too. So it's like, you see, Keeley has his kind of on front, camera shot with the stage behind him, but there's this big jib camera that's moving around in the background. It's like spinning around and doing stuff. Like people are hustling and bustling and moving people off the stage and moving things around. Like, it's cool to just see like the machinations of like how a show gets built and how it works in that way, which is super cool. It was also another layer of all of that stuff that I don't think a lot of folks at home get a chance to see is like, there's a way you mic a room, right? And it captures the audio from people clapping and people being excited about a thing and that kind of thing. And it was really interesting because the gaming crowds, especially gaming industry crowds, are usually kind of dead, and they were dead during the Game Awards. Like, they don't. It's like going to a New York hip hop show. Like, people are like, "Yeah, you're great. You're kind of okay. I appreciate the fact that you make video games in this space, but no one's like raucous. Like, except for this like hip hop gamer who is hype every time he's in a room like that. So it was interesting to like sit in the crowd and like see, Sting open the show, right? Full fog machine. We can't say that on KindaFunny because then Greg comes out of a room with fog machine.
No t-shirt on is right.
Yeah, no t-shirt, and then fire alarms go off. Anyway, all that kind of stuff. So they had like the fog machines, and Sting is doing his thing. He's singing, he's killing it, and he finishes his set, and everyone's like, "Lovely, that was so nice. So you did your little thing there, buddy. It was so nice. You did your singing thing. Good on you, right?" And nobody gave a crap. And I was like, "Yo, this is Sting. How are you not hyped for Sting right now?" So it's an interesting like mix and match of stuff. Like, someone tweeted out, I think it was I can't remember his name right now. But he was like, "I think Kahlief's piece in the show got a bigger pop than Sting did." And I was like, "I think you're right. It might have been right." So I don't know. It's just cool. Like, again, like I think all of that energy is just great. Like, again, I think Psychonauts definitely got robbed. I did not think It Takes Two deserved to get Game of the Year. Not even close in that way. It was a lot of ads this year that felt kind of egregious this year. It was like a lot of ads going down, and I don't know. It's just hard to know where things kind of lay in the space. So you know.
You bring up a point, and we might as well just address it on here.
Yeah,
Not that we need to stay on the Game Awards forever. Again, it is the Game Awards are absolutely needed. Everything we said about Jeff Keighley is true. But if I had more feedback, I think the common theme as we all walked out the door was, so what did you think? It was good. Wow, 3.5 hours. It was long. And then if you really add up the amount of time for when they presented awards versus doing musical acts or commercials or ads or whatever you want to call it, I mean, it was a fraction of the time that took up that 3.5 hours. So it's unfortunate, but it's a necessary evil because Jeff has to pay the bills. That's kind of the way I look at it. This is just a necessary evil that has to happen because he has to pay the bills. Yes, I think it is too long. I wish it was condensed down more to a 2-hour show, but maybe they need that 3.5 hours to actually put a spotlight on the games, present the awards, but you also got to have these other basically advertisements in there as well to pay for all this, because obviously it's a high production, award show that's going on here. And I always, when I start thinking about where the Game Awards is today, and we have these nitpicks that I'm saying right now, I think about what it was during the Spike TV days, and I go, oh, thank God, because I mean, even though, yes, he's still doing celebrity presenters and stuff like that, I get it. It was way worse back in those days. If I had a true suggestion, I wish there weren't any celebrity presenters. I wish it was other people from within the industry presenting these awards. I want to see more studio heads and developers and actual true gaming community personalities being the one to present an award. Like, let's just keep it real here. Look, I'm going to just say it. Like, Kahlief got recognized in there. I would have loved to see Kahlief actually presenting award there, right? I would love to see Greg presenting award. You, Mike, things like that. I mean, maybe not Gary. Gary start cussing, but
it'd be perfect presenter to present to Joseph Ferris.
That would be that would be great.
That would have been perfect.
But you get my point. I wish it was more people from the industry recognizing people in the industry, because this is supposed to be our show, our award show. Like, look, I'm not a Clipper fan, so I don't need Paul George up there. I just don't. Sorry. I don't need to see him up there. I don't need Will Arnett up there, people like that. I'd rather see more people from the industry giving out an award. Like, how great would it be if you had Doug Bowser, Phil Spencer, and Jim Ryan presenting Game of the Year together?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Stuff like that. I would love to see something like that, because it is supposed to be about us and not about, the celebrities and all that. But again, necessary evil. The celebrities and the Stings of the world, the musical acts, that gets more eyeballs on the show. And again, that's what pays the bills. So I get it.
Yeah. I would double down on that really quick to say, if we are going to have superstars on the show, I want more culturally relevant ones. Like, I love Sting, but like,
hey, he was in Only Murders in the Building this year, Kai. Very relevant. Very relevant.
I mean, look, at this point, I'm not looking to Sting to sing. I'm like, give me all the other tips that you've learned over the years. We know what those are in the world anyway.
Are you saying that Imagine Dragons isn't the most culturally relevant band right now, Kai?
Here's the wild thing, though, and I love you for saying that, but here's the wild thing. They had the best performance of the night in terms of like the musical performance and the acts that were there. This thing that should have gotten everybody really excited and kind of out of their seats. But again, if you have a very kind of demure, almost maybe a little bit too cool for school kind of audience, then you don't get that layer to kind of come through in the forefront. And I agree with what Parris said. Like, I want to see him doing that and going up and presenting awards. But it's an interesting balance, too, between Keighley's Game Awards and what I think DICE is, right? DICE is that space now where it's literally specifically for building up that developer community. And I think that's that weird in-between space where I think he doesn't want to delve in there, plus the, price tag to get in with, Microsoft, it ain't cheap to rent out and build all the stages and all the kind of stuff for. So it is an interesting balance between all those things, but it should be more dev focused. I don't think that the angle that everyone was asking for last year, which was we want to see developers have more time to talk about what they do and all that kind of stuff, was in there. And Paul George should never be on the stage. That's just the thing.
No,
We can't even
any-
find him in the playoffs. I don't need him on the stage.
Yeah,
He's
Yeah,
right.
like,
anybody that
I
plays
don't
for the Clippers and they're beyond. And if I say one last thing
Yeah,
about
tell
a
me,
critique
please.
on the Game Awards, since we're talking about it, because we actually were doing a Spaces a week or so ago, and I think this I can't remember if you were in that or not,
Yeah, yeah.
Kahlief, but like when we talk about the nominees, like let's just say for Game of the Year specifically, right? I felt like they speed run through showing you the game, and the winner is Doom, instead of giving, like, they should be spotlighting those games nominated for Game of the Year throughout the show. So to
Mhm.
give viewers, does anyone that hasn't played It Takes Two know what It Takes Two is? Watching that show, you would have no idea.
Yeah.
Maybe show it more, show Deathloop more, show Psychonauts 2 more. Since it can't win nothing, at least show it. You know what I mean? But you get my point. I wish they could show some of these games more throughout the shows. Because again, it's 3.5 hours. So give them more of a spotlight, because again, the whole point of all this is, because I'll say this, going back 2 years ago when I was there, them debuting Hellblade 2 years ago got me to go play Hellblade. I'm like, oh, I got to go check this out. And I think that same thing can happen for a lot of these other games if they get their moment to shine throughout the show, even if they don't win. I don't think winning is the point. I think it's about celebrating all these great games and showing them off to the general public who may not be as hardcore as we are, and they might pique their curiosity and they want to go pick it up and go play it.
Guys, I really loved hearing all the stories. I loved hearing everything that you guys got to experience. It was really, really special. But we got more to talk about right after we hear a word from our sponsor.
This episode is brought to you by Upstart. What would it feel like if you were finally free of high interest loans or credit card debt? Well, Upstart can help you make that final payment so you can get ahead. Upstart is the fast and easy way to pay off your debt with a personal loan, all online. Whether you're looking to pay off credit cards, consolidate high interest debt, or fund some personal expenses, Upstart can help you get one fixed monthly payment with a clear payoff date. Rather than looking at only your credit score, Upstart considers other factors like your income, current employment, and credit history to find you a smarter rate. Find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/kindafunny. That's upstart.com/kindafunny. Don't forget to use our URL to let them know we sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. That's upstart.com/kindafunny. Next up, shout out to Native. I love the smells of the season, and thanks to Native's new seasonal scents, my favorites are with me wherever I go. We're talking about deodorant, a deodorant that Gia Parris uses all the time, and it smells so good. Native deodorant is formulated with ingredients you've actually heard of, like coconut oil and shea butter. Native deodorant never uses aluminum, parabens, or sulfates, but it still keeps you smelling amazingly fresh all day long. With classics and rotating seasonals, Native has a deodorant scent for everyone, including their new holiday-inspired collection, which includes candy cane, sugar cookie, and fresh mistletoe. So there you go. You can keep the scents of the season with you with Native's limited-time holiday-scented deodorants. Go to nativedeo.com/kfgames or use promo code KFGames at checkout and get 20% off your first order. That's nativedeo.com/kfgames or use promo code KFGames at checkout for 20% off your first order. nativedeo.com/kfgames, promo code KFGames. And finally, shout out to Green Chef. Green Chef is America's #1 meal kit for eating well, with dinners that work for you, not the other way around. Green Chef's pre-made and pre-measured sauces, dressings, and spices get you more chef-curated flavor in less time. Green Chef's wide array of easy-to-follow recipes means there's something new to discover each week, so you never get bored. Plus, they make eating well easy with plans to fit every lifestyle. Whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals, Green Chef offers a range of recipes to suit your preferences, including all of those things. And as the first ever and only keto meal kit on the market, Green Chef makes sticking to a carb-conscious lifestyle easy. This has been something that a lot of members of the team have been enjoying, including Blessing and Kevin, and it's great. Go check it out. Go to greenchef.com/kindafunny10 and use code kindafunny10 to get 10 free meals, including free shipping. That's 10 free meals, including free shipping at greenchef.com/kindafunny10 and using code kindafunny10. greenchef.com/kindafunny10. Use code kindafunny10.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It's a great time to be with Kahlief and Parris because it's the end of the year, guys. It's the last episode of 2021. And of course, we're going to save our Game of the Year talks for next year. We're going to save our Halo spoiler cast for next year. But we can always look back on the year and smile about some of our favorite moments. And that's what I want to talk to you two about. It's just some of your goods, your bads, your uglies from the year of 2021 with Xbox. And we can talk about all things gaming, because one thing I love, Parris, that you always bring up is like, no matter where you game, just game and have fun, y'all. So if you got some dope gaming moments from other places, I want to hear about it, because that's what I love too. So as we look back on 2021, we had a good year, right? There was a lot of conversation. Parris, you and I talked about it. Of course, COVID and the implications of what COVID left on the industry and where that put us with development times. A lot of impacts on consoles being sold, of course, as well, chip shortages, and then where we are today as we look forward to 2022. So I want to take a look back on the year. And of course, I'm going to include a little bit of November and December from last year. I think that will be a conversation we have as well, Parris and myself, you and Gary, of like, what does Halo have with an uphill battle to be recognized for Game of the Year next year, right? Because it misses the cutoff, it releases in December. How do you keep that in the conversation, and what does that do? But we'll talk about some things in November and December. Of course, we had the launch of the new console generation, the Xbox Series X and S, with the ZeniMax and Bethesda purchase. We had Game Pass getting elevated this year. So wanted to know what you guys really loved about 2021. Let's start off with the positive. I'll kick it over to you, Parris. Were there any big moments one by one that you really liked?
I think my biggest moment of the year is pretty obvious. Getting to actually host.
There we go. I like that.
I mean, you mean from a personal standpoint, that definitely will be an all-time high for me. And I had to bring the prop. I showed it earlier. This is absolutely my number one gaming moment of the year. And having Kahlief here is just sweet as I talk about it. But I mean, from a personal standpoint, I mean that's pretty obvious. I would just say again from gaming side of it. I talk about this game all the time, but it's just the truth. I mean, Death's Door is my high point for the gaming year, because for me, it came out of nowhere. It's made by two people. You could go buy it for $20, and it just grabbed me from a nostalgic standpoint, and it wound up being my favorite thing of the year. There's obviously so many other countless games I can throw into here. I'll say another thing that I'm so happy about. Being wrong about Halo. I'm very happy about that. If there's anything I've ever wanted to be wrong about, it is definitely being wrong about Halo Infinite and the job that they were able to do, and having that aha moment. Again, I talked about this, previously, having that aha moment when I'm backstage. We're recording all the stuff for Extended, and and they're showing me, the multiplayer, and I go, oh wait, I get it. They don't need Battle Royale. They don't need all this extra stuff. They just need to be Halo. And they're going to be fine. And when we got into those technical previews, the truth bore out, and they're right. They're right to stick to their guns and just make a great Halo game, versus trying to chase something that is outside of their comfort zone or outside of what they would normally do. Instead, they doubled down, and they made something great with that multiplayer. They really did. And we'll obviously talk spoilers in the campaign on another day, but even the few risks that they did take with the campaign, they paid off. They did. I think just overall, they did a great job. And all the doom and gloom that I was spitting over the last year. Oh, I don't know. I was wrong. And I'm so happy to say that.
Heck yeah. It feels good to say that with you, Parris, because man, that 343 team, they knocked it out. And it's like, big shout out to them. They had a lot. They were up against the wall, getting a lot of criticism. And it's like, man, y'all stuck the landing. Good job, everybody over there. Kahlief, I know, Parris got to share some personal stories. He had a great personal year for sure. Did you have any fun moments back when you look at gaming?
None. It was a terrible year. It sucked. I hated all of it. Especially that controller part.
You were put on blast in front of the world. That's right.
You know what the funny thing is? Like, it's funny that Parris says that.
I keep this wrapped up in a glass case, and I never touch it. I will never use this thing ever.
It's so hilarious. And it's funny because Parris sharing that, and that was funny because I was going to say the same thing. Was seeing him get the chance to shine on that kind of global scale was like very, very happy. It was a happy moment for me. Like, we have talked a lot about, the ascent of the work that we get a chance to do, and I feel like this was a moment where he got a chance to be, on the meteoric rise that is so well deserved. So it was nice to be able to see him do that work and be there and command the stage and do it so effortlessly and flawlessly. It just really made me feel good to be a part of the industry, and made me feel good to see my brother like shine in this biggest way. Even though I got shaded to the ends of the earth.
Oh my God, you got roasted so hard. Oh my God.
So hard. And it was funny because I was looking back at, like, I'm trying to go through my own version of like what happened with SpawnOnMe and Kahlief this year, and I saw this tweet that Xbox put out where they did these cards of like, if you had like Pokemon cards.
Okay, yeah.
And I forgot that they did one of me too, and it was like Kahlief got roasted on the thing. And I was like, man, that was such a wild moment. But it was great. It made me really happy to like reminisce about that stuff. But I also think, besides Game Pass kind of really coming into its own this year, which was really, really fantastic, I think this was a really good year for indies on the Xbox platform in a way that I don't think a lot of people really are paying attention to. Like I'm just like going through games that I remembered as like Sable, The Ascent, She Dreams Elsewhere,
Rain on Your Parade.
Like stuff like that, like really came to the forefront in a way that I don't think the Artful Escape. Like, there are games within the ecosystem that a lot of people didn't expect to really be bangers, and there were a lot of bangers in the indie space that really got a lot of shine and love because they were a part of the Game Pass family. And it just felt like, a secondary layer of all of that, if I want to think about like a good thing for Xbox, was Xbox social team. My God, this year, like, talk about killing it on every layer that you possibly can. I don't remember really there ever being a prolonged, lengthy negative news cycle for anything Xbox this year. Like, even if they did have a misstep, I think they did the Games with Gold thing. That was a
gold. Yep.
Was like
quick
the small
reversal.
Yeah, it was like, and they just snatched that up, fixed it, and made it good. And I think that has been, a thing that I think about a lot when I'm just like, man, think about the conversation around the Xbox platform a couple years ago, or pre Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S cycle, right? It was still a very Sony heavy conversation in a way that was, deserved, but also, I still don't think Microsoft ever really got the full credit of what it tried to do even last generation. They turned that ship around faster than I've ever seen a company turn a ship around. And it's just been good vibes ever since. It feels like they are, I'm not going to say bulletproof, but it's like they nailed it this year in a way that is like really, really profound. And they got to get props for that.
And to speak to that specific thing, like I remember we recorded that episode, that entire episode was roasting Xbox about this Games with Gold pricing. I was just thinking about this on my walk today with my dog. It was like having to like hit up, like talk with Parris on Slack, and then like have Parris record like this disclaimer of like, all right, well, we recorded this episode, and then they made a rollback announcement like 2 hours after we recorded this episode. So we still wanted to post it because we thought there were some good conversations here, but as of tonight, they immediately rolled back this idea, which was insane.
To pause on that, because I vividly remember that. I remember getting that call that night that the change was coming, and and then I had to record that solo thing. But I think what we said in the moment was important that we still put that out, because I think one thing, yes, this is an Xbox show and all that, but we call it like we see it. So that was a moment early on this year where Xbox absolutely took a stumble. It was like, what were you thinking? That is not consumer friendly. That is not going to want people to run and come join Xbox. They're going to look at it and go, oh, you trying to do is make people go to Game Pass. I see what you're doing. So they got called out on it, and they did the right thing, and they changed, and they needed to, because it was not the right move. But going back to what you were just saying, Kahlief, like the Artful Escape is another great indie game that should be included in this. But I'm gonna just say this, because we've been accused of various things throughout this year here on this show, and I tweeted this the other day, and I 100% mean what I said. The real game of the year is Game Pass. whether you can fight. Hey,
doubt.
dread it, run from it. Destiny still arrives all the same, because I'm telling you, this service got me to try so many games this year that I never would have played. This service got my kids to discover and play games without me saying a word. Like, oh, Dad, did you check this one out? Did you play this? Oh, it was on Game Pass and I played it. Oh, it's so great. It's the whole point of Game Pass is you don't have to get it. It's a choice. We've said this a million times during the year. You can still buy games the way you always want to, but if you subscribe to that service, you get access to so many other things that you'll at least go try it. I would not have played Sable if it wasn't for Game Pass, as an example. Rainier in Your Parade, Donut County, the list goes on. Sure, the big games, Forzas and the Halos and flight simulators, those are all great. But to me, it's those smaller AA games where Game Pass really hits its stride, because to me, that's where the true passion in art and gaming happens, is at the AA and the indie level. When you have a smaller budget, when you have to be creative with what you're doing, that's how we get games like this, right? And then those ideas then branch their way to the AAA level and go into the big games, that we all love as well. But yeah, like you said, Kahlief, to me, 2021 was the year that Game Pass really, had its coming out moment, that it really shined. And when you look into next year, it's just going to be even better. So yeah, you call us whatever you want to call us, but I stand by what I say with Game Pass. It, to me, was probably the best gaming thing that happened in 2021, because it wasn't just about one game. It's literally about hundreds of games. And as we've said many times, there's something there for everyone.
Yeah.
One more addition to that, which I think is really important, and I think people at home should really tap into. 2021 was a year in which Xbox made a technology real in a way that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
And that's xCloud.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting thing, because I think a lot of people are still on the fence about cloud gaming. We had Stadia do their thing. We had Amazon Luna do their thing. When Amazon Luna works fairly well when it's working and doing all that kind of stuff. But like from a conceptual phase to I am actually doing it in a way that works, xCloud has actually been the goods. And I don't think that they're getting the props they deserve on that side of the fence either, because yes, it is supplemental to your gaming experience. It is not the kind of main way that you would kind of, play games in that way. But I've seen numerous folks who I appreciate their opinion. Parris, Mike, a whole bunch of folks are like, "Oh, I'm in the hotel right now. I'm playing in the cloud. Oh, I'm doing this and it works." And I'm like, that's a thing that I remember in that room in 2005, maybe? I don't remember. But Phil Spencer, GDC, big old wireframe of like what this potentially could be. And we went from that in that boardroom in Coney Center to now being able to have an option on multiple devices that's like, play this game in the cloud and it works. That's wild.
Yeah.
That they came through on that. And they're continuing to build on it by backwards compatibility hardware now at this point. So it's nuts. Like they have to get props in the ways that they've kind of innovated in this year, especially, and how long it's taken to get there. But massive props to the teams for knocking that stuff out of the box and like making it valid and making it a valuable addition to all the stuff that they're putting out.
I love that you brought up the cloud, because as Parris knows, I love the cloud a lot. I'm on my mobile device playing the cloud a lot. And I think the cool one is I think it's going to become really out into the forefront. And we're seeing it right now on the console side. Right now, you can just boot up games from the console without installing. You're just on and popping. And I think people are really going to see that and understand it better.
Here's where the cloud's going to come in really handy for the Xbox community, because you already mentioned this, Kahlief. We know these chip shortages are going to go well into next year as well, right? There's going to be some people that are going to want to play Redfall, or they're going to play Starfield, or they're going to play the new Forza Motorsport. Those are Series XS only games. I still got my Xbox One X and I can't get one. Guess what? Play it through the cloud.
Yep.
There you go. That's where it's going to happen, because now it's baked into the console experience as well, which we've talked about on the show, the past few months, works well. I literally started up a new game, not a new game, but I continued an old save I had for Fallout 3 through the cloud on my Series X. Never even installed it, just played it through the cloud, and it works. And like you said, when I've been traveling this year, I fire it up on my phone, I fire it up on my laptop. It just works. It's like you said, it's a great supplement to the primary way we play games. And yeah, I think that's another feather in their cap for 2021 to really start to play. Because like you said, when you look at the competing cloud services that are out there, this is the only one where, hey, if I'm subscribed to Game Pass Ultimate, these are games I got anyways. I don't have to worry about buying. I don't have to worry about buying Skyrim for the 12th time, just to play it. I already own it. You know what I mean? You already have a built-in library that you can go try.
Yeah.
So I think it's great.
You're so right, Parris. You already own it. And these are games that you might have already played and your save carries over, right? You look at other subscription services and like, yeah, some of them just let you jump into the subscription. You can play all the games there. Some of them you have to buy them. But like with this, I already have that library. I've already jumped into those saves from 2008, and it's wild to see that. So, yeah, I love that. I want to bring up one, of course, we're talking about Game Pass and the elevation, but like the third-party elevation has been awesome this year to see. And I think one that stuck out with me watching the Xbox documentary series that we'll talk about a little bit later, The Power On, they brought up the word shared library. And this is something that I think we all can relate to, especially me being the multiplayer guy, is like, it is tough to get all of your friends to buy the same game, especially if it's not a good game, right? But there are moments where we all get to hang out on a Friday night and play Back for Blood, play Outriders for a full week. And like, I love what they did with this shared library where it's like, oh yeah, you just got that. Let's do this together and have some fun. And to look back on like MLB The Show, to bring over a true baseball sim and like finally get to play real baseball on Xbox meant a lot to me, right? I look at Outriders, Back for Blood, and the fun times I got to share with my friends, even if we only played it for a day or for a weekend or for a week. It's like, man, we all saved a bunch of money. We got to play that together, right? And I'll still give a big shout out to EA Play. I don't know how long this contract will last for, but I freaking love EA Play because I get to play sports games. I get to play awesome EA titles. And the best part is that 10-hour free trial on games, right? Like me and my friends, I got a code for Battlefield. They didn't buy it. They were on the fence, but we still played 10 hours together. And like, that's lit. That's super dope that people like. I love that. And I can't wait to see where we go.
And then they said, thank God we didn't buy it. But no.
And then they said, Mike,
watch you played through that thing and complained through every hour of that.
You know that, Kahlief. And then I'm over here, Parris, like, I'm going to buy everybody Battlefield because I want to play more Battlefield. And the words out of their mouth is, don't do that, Mike. We don't want that. And I'm like, please let me buy this for you.
Washy just being like, Mikey, this is terrible.
If I could side note on that note, because you're asking about the good and the bad that we've seen this year.
That's what I want.
To me, that kind of highlights still the negative that we see in the industry of games coming out when they're not ready. I mean, when these games, and again, the pandemic is completely understandable if you need to delay. I think even if it wasn't a pandemic and you need more time, please delay your game. But when you see these games come out in a state to where they're damn near unplayable, or they're just so buggy that you're fighting your way through the experience, it's a letdown, especially in the scenario that you're saying, when you're not subscribed to Game Pass and you're spending $60, $70 on these games, and then they're basically broken, and they tell you, oh, don't worry, we'll fix it. And 6 months later, still having issues. That's a disappointment, big time. And you would have hoped after what happened at the end of 2020 with a certain game, with a yellow chair, that these companies would have learned to not do that going into 2021. But we still saw examples of that. And I hope as we go into 2022, we see more games. Like Saints Row is a great example. Was supposed to come out in February. They've delayed it now till I think September or something like that because they realized they needed more time. Please do that. Obviously, Halo Infinite is a shining example of that. They took an entire calendar year delay, and you saw the benefits of that. So I hope more companies do that because, like we're just talking about Battlefield 2042. I was saying that during the beta. I was like, don't put this game out, please.
Yeah.
It needs more time. And unfortunately, I was right. And we'll see. What happens with that game in 2022, but I don't like having those conversations. I don't want to talk about how a game is broken. I want to talk about how a game's fun. That's what I want to talk about. So hopefully as we go into 2022, we'll have less of those.
Another cool one to bring it back to the documentary series, they talk about Halo and then Halo 2. And, I think they really preach about like this docuseries is for people that have been along the ride for the 20 years and the ins and outs, or like people who are new and want to learn the story and be a part of it, right? I didn't know that Halo 2 had a year-long delay, right? I didn't know that they had to raise their hand and say, hey, we're not ready for this. Like, this is not going to be good. And they had to fight to be like, hey, we need an extra year. And you're so right, Parris, of like, you look at some of the games that we get and you're like, man, maybe another extra year would have worked. And what is the business side of that in that room saying, hey, we need to fight for this, or no, you're doing this regardless, and we're coming out to the public real hot, which is wild to see this year.
Yeah, you don't have a chance to make up for it. That's the new rule now. Is like you either come out great, or it takes a lot of energy and a lot of responses to kind of get back into people's good graces. Go ahead, Parris.
And you know what that is? What you're saying right there is there's so many great games out there and so many experiences. If you don't grab my attention, if you don't earn my engagement right away, I'm moving on to something else. That's part of it, really. And which in a way is a good thing that there's so many great things, but in a bad way, it's that if a game doesn't launch in the best state, maybe they get all those problems fixed 6 months down the road. I've moved on. Great example, Mike, because I know you talk about this a lot. Outriders is a great example of that, where the concept of it, there was so much potential there.
Yep.
But it was so buggy for a few weeks, we all moved on. And from what I understand, a lot of that stuff's been fixed now. Guess what? I haven't gone back to play it because now something else has grabbed my attention. And that's kind of the thing with games like that, where you got to get me right away. Yeah, or we're just going to move on.
Yeah, the hype cycle moves is right. I want to bring up a couple of special gems and game moments that I look back on this year that I really enjoyed, and that was Sea of Thieves Pirate's Life. And that's one I think very similar to this, right?
Yeah.
I was there day one of Sea of Thieves. I've been through that ride of like, hey, this is a cool idea, but like there's nothing to do, and me and my friends aren't going to play this, to where we are today, where it's like, man, they've added a lot to this. And you put on a big, tie-in with Pirate's Life, and it's like, you got me. I'm into this now. And like me and my friends could play this. We could jump out, jump back in. And I think what that team over at Rare did with that IP of, mixing in Disney and all that, that was a ton of fun. And that was really cool to see. So big shout out to that. Another one that I know, me and Parris, we've talked about before. It came out in December, but I still got to beat the drum for it. Gears 5 Hive Busters. I mean, come on.
Yes,
what a banging DLC to put that on Game Pass, to really be able to enjoy that. I mean, Gears 5 Hive Busters is exactly what I wanted out of that experience, right? Like just something short and sweet. Loved it.
Hey, can I say, because I know we're going to talk about the Matrix stuff later.
Yeah, tell me.
But the Coalition helped with that on Unreal 5. When you think about Gears Hive Busters, that gets me even more excited to think, what the hell is the Coalition going to do next, man? Oh, yeah. Hive Busters, if you've not experienced that, to anyone watching or listening to this, please do yourself the favor. Go do it. Fantastic experience. That's where I want to see the Gears franchise go. I almost feel like it was an experiment to see if people, were interested in that. And I hope so, because I think that's a great way for them to explore Gears moving forward.
As I have you guys, we start to switch gears here before we go. Were there any things that you want to see improved upon for next year moving into 2022? Is there any highlights that you're looking at? I know we always talk about, the community talks about achievements. You see a lot of conversation around that. We talk about games. And I think the Xbox fans really got a taste of that on the second half of the year, of like what this cadence could look like with some big first party titles. We do know a number of games coming out in 2022, but I think there is some still ones that will come out and wow us, right? I give a big shout out to Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't think Guardians was going to be that good, but that is one of those games where I leave this year going, man, shout out to that game.
I haven't played it.
Yeah, Parris, you know what? I think you're gonna like it.
Yeah, everyone tells me it's great. I just gotta scratch out the time to do it. Since I'm talking,
a lot of time.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Since I'm talking, I guess I might as well say improvements. Since we're talking Xbox, we, like you said, we kind of already know some titles that are coming out in 2022, and I'm excited for those. So it's not a thing of games. Continued to kind of iterate on the UI and just the Xbox experience itself, as far as like quick resume as an example. We love it. A little buggy. I mean, again, these are just things that they need to iron out. just do more things to keep people engaged, because now Xbox has gone just beyond the console. My biggest thing is on the PC side. And I already know that they're overhauling the Xbox app and all that, but there's definitely a lot of work they can do on that to improve that experience. And, obviously Steam has been the go-to on PC to kind of align themselves to get more people to want to play their games on the Xbox app versus going to Steam to play those. There's definitely things they can do. And I know Windows 11 is obviously going to help with some of those as well, but that's what I would like to see going into 2022, continue to kind of iterate on the Xbox experience on the PC.
Yeah, I would agree. The Xbox app is not great. It's one of those weird things of, Mike, we and I, we play a lot of various games, and we're switching constantly between PC and console, and trying to just jump in a party when I'm on one thing and trying to jump on the other. I'm like, am I in the PC party? Am I in the console party? Right. Am I now in Discord? Am I on AIM? Where am I at now? I have no clue. I have no clue where I'm at anymore. The two biggest improvements that I'm hoping to see from the Xbox platform is, one, a very small thing, which is I would love to have the kind of share button on the Elite controllers. They don't have that.
Come on,
I don't understand why that's not a thing. I was like, why is that not a thing? I love my Halo controller. I love my Elite controllers. There's no share button, when especially they've made that experience so much better now with, just being able to throw out a link and having that stuff go directly to your phone. All that kind of, I love the incorporated stuff that they do there. And they got to bring down external storage prices. Like the Seagate drive is too expensive still. I understand why from a technical standpoint, from a silicon standpoint, all the understanding I know, but like those prices are really expensive still. And I'm hoping to see them kind of, work that down a little bit, because I think that'll just make it really exciting for people to think about getting into the space in a real way. So like those are the kind of two major things that when I think about like what would make the experience a little bit better and sweeter, it'd be those two things.
That's good stuff right there, you two. I really like that. And I want to hear from the community out there, because there's a lot to talk about, from game DVR, right, to sharing, like you said, that UI and a little bit better navigation. I also want to be more social on Xbox, right? Like you can be social on Xbox, but there's some hoops to jump through to truly be social. And I'd like to find a better blend of that moving forward. But I want to hear from the community. Let me know, let Parris know, let Kahlief and the gang know here in the comments down below. What do you want to see heading into 2022? What are the things that you want to improve upon, or new things that they might not even be thinking about? But since I got a little bit of time left on the show, I got to talk to my guy who's plugged in, jacked into the Matrix, because the Matrix Awakens experience did come out last week. We got to check out Unreal Engine 5, a cool tech demo. I got to ask Gary about it. He jumped in and played it. Parris, what did you think of that?
I'm honestly surprised Gary wasn't one of the NPCs walking across the street, since he's so plugged into the Matrix. First of all, shameless plug. Definitely go check out the Matrix in review. We did all three movies over the past few weeks. So check that out as I make an appearance on there and do all my trivia and all that other nonsense. And I'm pretty sure I'll be on Resurrections when we do that in January. But to the Matrix experience that we got to play with the Unreal 5 engine, incredible in the sense that I wasn't always 100% sure what was real and what was not. And I think that's the whole point. Brought my kids in, they couldn't even tell, right? And that just kind of blew my mind, that's the potential of what this engine can do. And I was doing it on an Xbox here in 2021. You know what I mean? It just shows the potential of what Unreal Engine 5 will be for gaming. And I think I tweeted out right after I played, what excites me more is I'm not what Epic can do, not what the Coalition can do, since they helped on it. I want to see what indie and AA developers do with that engine, right? That's what excites me. Again, when I talk about smaller budgets and you got to get super creative with things, I want to see what they can do with that engine, because we know the big AAAs are going to have some visually impressive experiences, but what are some of the smaller teams going to be able to do? That excites me. But yeah, very impressive. I mean, look, obviously Warner Brothers, the marketing, getting Epic involved, getting that engine involved, getting the Coalition in to help. I thought it was fantastic. It is really a glimpse into the future of where gaming is going to go from a visual standpoint. It's pretty exciting.
And Barrett has it up right now for all you YouTube watchers out there, and I'm still shaking my head going, man, look at that thing. Kahlief, did you get to jump into it? What'd you think?
Yo, I got a chance to see it a little bit earlier than the announcement on the
Show
Game
off.
Awards.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? I got to see you a little early, you know what I mean? And I had a friend of mine tell me a little bit about, like, you know, what not what to expect, but, you know, the level of kind of hype that person kind of shared with me. That was from a person who is very, I'm speaking in, you know, in kind of shrouded ways, because I can't let that person know that I'm telling the story. But that person doesn't get really hyped and excited. No, I'm not telling you, shut up. That person doesn't really get hyped and excited in that way. And I've known this person for a long time in the industry. They were like, once you see this, you are going to lose your mind. That is not a thing that a lot of people say. Like, people say it in the industry all the time, but I popped that thing open and saw it for the first time, and I didn't know what to do. I was like, okay, oh, so we're going from this one moment where you're kind of walking through it and seeing Keanu and all the stuff, and now you're playing a level within this world that is being generated, and all the real-time deformation, all the destruction, all the stuff that's happening in this space. And then you plop down into the world itself and start walking around. And I was like, this is what the future was supposed to be like when we thought about what gaming was going to be for next gen.
Yes.
Like, remember the Unreal Engine PS5 demo? Even in an interesting space now, looking at that and then looking at this Matrix layer, that the Matrix stuff makes that look bad and old. It makes that look old. It makes that look not as good as this other stuff. So I was thoroughly impressed with all that stuff. And I'll say, I can't share my full hand yet because the ink isn't dry, but you may want to check out early January with SpawnOnMe stuff, because we may have a really great interview with folks who worked on that demo.
Wow. Okay.
So there's a lot of good, you know, just like, what does this mean for the future of the industry? What does this mean for where we're going to see games go? Again, I love what Parris talked about with the link to the coalition, right? And we want to see what teams are going to do with this tech once they fully kind of embrace it. And once it feels like we're still not doing that cross generation move that we're still doing. You know, a lot of people talked about that too, of being like, well, I can't wait till we stop making games for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and stuff. Now, with the way that this stuff scales, you may be able to get wild, experiences that will be cross-gen, but also have a little bit more of that extra oomph when you wind up moving it to a next-gen console. I am so excited for what this means for virtual production, for new layers of gameplay. Like, Mikey, you know how much we love sports games. Imagine 2K moving over to Unreal Engine 5.
Oh, wow.
With this.
Yeah.
Wow. What I'm saying.
Like,
Wow.
imagine, remember that old Michael Vick Nike commercial that was supposed to be what gaming was supposed to be at some point?
Yes.
We're far past that now, because that's like almost 20 years old now. But like, think about what, again, a Madden game can look like when you ditch Frostbite and you go directly to Unreal Engine 5. Like, what are we going to see when it comes to this stuff? Like, I'm so excited for the future of this space, but knowing that Unreal Engine is going to be all over the place. This is nuts.
That's exciting stuff. I like that you put it like that, Kahlief, because now you got me really excited when you talk sports games. That's right up my alley, of course. As we round down the episode, here's some things for you to enjoy during the holiday break. Of course, if you're looking for things to watch and things to play, I think I got you covered, and Xbox has got you covered. Of course, you have The Power On, the story of Xbox. The 6-part docuseries is live now on YouTube and a number of different places, totally for free. You don't have to pay a single dollar to watch this. And I've watched all 6 episodes. I've actually already rewatched most of them as well. And it is very, very good. It is very well done. It is for people who have been diehard Xbox fans for 20 years, or people that are just jumping in that want to learn more, see the history, right? There are awesome stories here. And there's familiar faces like Seamus Blackley. and Tom Russo are on there. You get to see Snoop Dogg. My guy Uncle Snoop is in there. I have a great story about Snoop Dogg for you two, actually, regarding Xbox.
Ooh.
He was up in Tahoe one year, and this was the year that Call of Duty Modern Warfare came out. So that was the biggest thing on the planet, if you remember. And
Oh, yeah.
Snoop Dogg, on a snowy December night, refused to go on stage unless the Mont Bleu staff brought him an Xbox with Call of Duty. And he delayed the concert for an hour and a half so he could get an Xbox, somebody said.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so that, I will never forget that. And when you see Snoop Dogg on this docuseries, you believe it, right? You see it. He is a gamer through and through, and he's been ride or die with Xbox. And the stories they tell of like Xbox Live and that connection that we all built together in party chats, meeting people in real life after you played with them for years is really special. And there's awesome stories to be told throughout all 6 episodes. So please take the time, go enjoy that. The production team that put all this together, shout out to you, because that was very well done. I mean, we've talked about it, me and these two guys, because we're all basketball hoopers over here. That MJ doc was very special. The Last Dance is something we think about forever. This Power On one, for me being a gamer too, that hit my heart because this one was really special as well. So please check that out. Another one for you, if you're looking for games to play, guess what? Right now, December 7th through the 21st, you have the ID at Xbox Winter Game Demo event going down on your Xbox. You can play up to 35 different demos right now throughout the month of December. You have some great notable ones like Nobody Saves the World from Drinkbox Studios. This is a game that me and Greg got to see and we're very excited about. You've seen Tunic. Tunic is out now. Loot River is out, and Death Trash is something, a game that I really liked. You can go check those out right now during this ID at Xbox Winter Game Demo event. So some things to watch, some things to play. But with that, let's get the heck out of here, guys. It's the end of the year, 2021, the final episode of the Kinda Funny Xcast for the year. As we look back, I want to thank each and every one of you, the audience of best friends that have watched, listened, and just rocked with us throughout the year. We got to do some really awesome things. We got to have on some incredible people to share their stories, to talk about video games, and share the enthusiasm and passion for this industry that we all love. I got to rock with my guy, Parris Lilly, for a full year, and it was awesome. So thank you, Parris, for being a part of this. Thank you for always bringing the fun, bringing the smiles, bringing the real, and just being a part of this alongside me and my good friend, Gary Whitta, and, of course, Barrett for running the show all the time. It wouldn't be possible without these guys here at Kinda Funny for making it all possible. It's my good friend, Kahlief, who's just always there, just to be there next to me, to have fun, to rock with me, to play games. Kahlief, you are the absolute best, dude. So thank you for another year together. Thank you for the Kinda Funny Xcast. Next year, we will return, and we'll be better than ever, as we always are. We're going to talk about Halo. We're going to talk about our Game of the Years, and we're going to go right into 2022 excited to play games with all of you. So don't go anywhere. But this has been your final episode of the Kinda Funny Xcast. Parris, you know I like to throw the ball to you and give you the sweet alley-oop. You get to dunk it home. Give them the final words of 2021.
All right, if I'm going to have the final words of 2021, first of all, Mike, thank you for being such an excellent host on Xcast. I mean, dude, there is no Xcast without you. You know that. You know I love you to death. Gary's not here, but I always miss him when he's not here because he always has something. I'm still not over the Matrix thing. That came out of nowhere, and it just threw me for a loop. But my final words that I want to say is, Phil Spencer, you have yet to come on the Xcast. The invitation is open for 2022. Stop going on Gamescast with Greg and Tim and all them. They are not Xbox fans. We're the guys that are Xbox fans. We're the guys that are waving the green flag. Come on, Xcast. The floor is yours.
I love that. All right, everybody. Have a great holiday break. We'll see you back for the new year. Peace.